Welcome to another episode of today's Conversations on Leadership, powered by Life University. I'm your host, Dr. Gilles LaMarche, and I'm really honored today to have Miss Vicki Pugh with us. Vicki is the founder of a company called Advancements Experts. She has been in the world of philanthropy for 3 decades. Doesn't seem like it's possible, but she is a member of the faculty at the Lilly School of Philanthropy at Indiana University. And I've had the honor and pleasure of working with Vicki as a facilitator for some of the work that we do here at Life University for the last couple of years. So Vicki, welcome to today's Conversations on Leadership. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Gilles. Thank you. It's great to be here.
So let's get right at it. For your organization, which is the most important to you? Mission, core values, or general purpose?
Well, I would say core values, because core values should guide an organization in every move that it makes. And when we work with organizations, we talk about kind of those 3 things that work in conjunction with one another. Mission, which should lead to vision, which is your big ultimate goal. And then core values, which your external and internal behavior is based upon. Values help develop culture in an organization. Culture is defined by a set of behaviors based on values that happen over time. And it's really hard to change and redirect culture. You can certainly change and redirect your mission. You can certainly change and redirect your vision, but changing and redirecting your values and your culture is difficult. So building that culture first, as you're developing your mission and your vision, really creates those foundations for any either nonprofit or for-profit company.
So how did you craft your core values? What did you do as a company to create those core values and know they're really at the core of what Advancement Experts stands for?
Well, it's a small company, right? I started it myself, and then brought in a partner. And actually, I didn't develop my own core values until I brought in a partner. And now we have a couple of other associates working with us. So we really felt like once there was more than one of us, we needed to develop a set of common core values. So we probably spent about a half a day, my business partner and we sat down at a table in a quiet place, and we really worked through our core values, just thinking about what guides us as individuals and how we wanted to parlay those values through the work that we do consulting with nonprofit organizations. It took a lot of intention around that. We always coach organizations to develop 4 or 5 core values and then define what that means. It's not just saying I'm all for integrity. I'm all for honesty. I'm all for, there's many values that you can have in your corporation, but really honing in on those 4 or 5 that you share and you want to help develop your organizational culture going forward. So intentional time to develop those core values. And then we also, in that same session, worked on what our mission was and our vision was, again, so they could kind of all support one another and represent really how we want to move forward with our company and the way that we work with our clients.
Can you share your core values with our audience today? Did you come ready to do that?
I didn't come ready to do that. But you know what? You just made a great point, because everybody, especially those who own their own businesses, we should be able to recite our mission, our vision, and our core values at the drop of a hat when anybody asks. So, leadership lesson for me for today: come prepared with my mission, vision, and my core values.
So it'll be for another time. So I can tell you, my purpose statement, which is really the core values that I choose to live from personally, and how I applied it to my work when I was in practice, how I apply it to any consulting work that I've done, and how I apply it even at my life at Life University currently, is, I pledge my life to my greatest expression of love and service for the benefit of humanity. So my 2 top core values, because I have integrity and honesty all built in, but my 2 top core values are unconditional love and limitless service, period.
Well, we have kind of 3 values that we have in our kind of our logo or in our brand, which is connect. So we want to connect not just to our clients on a professional level, but on a personal level too. We want to make a connection, not just for the time that we're working with them, but we want to create a lasting connection with them. We are committed. We are committing to helping them move to the next level in their fundraising and their planning, and then change. Because in the nonprofit sector, we make change. We help change lives and save lives in some instances. So connect, commit, and change are really three of the values that we use in our brand.
Well, I'll congratulate you, number one, for reciting them, and number two, for living them, because I've actually experienced that with you. Right? You're a great connector, but you didn't connect just with me because I was sort of the boss hiring you. You connected with everybody on our team when you came to connect with the board, when you came to connect with the executive team at Life University, when you did the training for our training ambassador, for our fundraising ambassadors, rather. You really, I could feel that. And so thank you for doing that. Let's get into our next question. How do you ensure that your organization and its activities are actually aligned with your core values?
That's a great question, right? I'm not sure that I'm intentionally looking at the core values all the time to make sure I'm living them, but I will tell you there are lots of instances, and everybody experiences this, whether they're in a nonprofit organization or for-profit organization. You will come to certain times where you kind of got that gut reaction. Should I work with that client? Should I not work with that client? Is that client really aligned with what we do and how we approach our work? And so I think living those values is being able to say, yes, we want to work with you, or we're not sure this is the right fit, because we don't work for the money, although we need the money. Everybody has to have money to live and, support themselves and their families. But we want to make sure we have total alignment with our clients before we move forward. So I think that's kind of how we live out those values without having to regularly, go back and see what those values are. We do have we have pledged, my partner and I have pledged to ourselves that at least once a year, we're going to sit down for a couple of days and just do some planning for our business, which includes taking another look at our mission, vision, and core values and making sure we're still in alignment with ourselves personally as well as our business endeavors.
Obviously, the suggestion you're making to our listeners is, it's not about finding your core values, writing a mission statement, writing your vision statement, and then forgetting about it.
Right.
But rather reviewing it to make sure that it's consistently in line with how you're operationalizing your business. And if it's not, how you can actually then create a shift, because you're taking a concerted, intentional effort to actually review and address any changes that you may want to make. So thank you for that as well. A lot of our listeners are seasoned leaders, but a lot of our listeners are also emerging leaders. Mm-hmm. So this question is really going to be to help our emerging leaders. What advice would you give someone who's going into a leadership position literally for like the first time? Mm-hmm. So whether they're starting their own business and they're going to lead there, or they're taking a position as a supervisor, as a manager, but going into a leadership position for the first time, what's some of the advice that you would want to provide those individuals?
I think I would give two pieces of advice. The first is this: get a mentor. Find someone that you look up to and respect as a leader, and spend time with them. There doesn't have to be an agenda. I think the best mentoring relationships really happen organically when you have just great connection and you feed off of one another. And don't be afraid to try out a couple of mentors, because sometimes there's just not chemistry. Find somebody that you can call on when you need help, somebody that you can talk to when you have a certain situation that you need some help navigating through as a leader. I remember when I was a leader for the first time, I got into a leadership role. I was the executive director of a YMCA branch, and all of a sudden I had to oversee programs and fundraising, which I had done before, and a lot of people. We had 160 some odd employees at our branch. I was like, oh my gosh, I am not prepared for this. So I relied on other YMCA executives a lot, called them a lot. They were kind of my lifeline anytime I needed help. So finding a mentor, whether it's in your specific field of business or someone externally that you see as a leader, is one piece of advice. The second piece is get some training. There's a lot of leadership coursework out there. You mentioned that I teach for the fundraising school at Indiana University. They have some leadership coursework, which is great, but there's plenty of other leadership coursework and leadership classes you can take, maybe not for college credit, but workshops and seminars and those kind of things. because I don't think there's a lot of learning. I certainly in my undergraduate degree, I didn't have any leadership training, right? I had to learn it on the job. And as I said, when I got into a leadership position, man, did I make a lot of mistakes. And I think about it, I'm like, I just wish I would have had some training or sought some training. And again, that mentor, had a lot of great mentors, but intentional with both of those things, that would have helped me become a better leader.
I'll tell you two great suggestions because I followed both. Number one, I did have multiple mentors that guided me in different aspects of my personal development, my life development, my business development. And then about a dozen years ago or so, even though I'd been in a leadership role already for like 30 years, I spent an entire semester doing a course on executive leadership with Cornell University. And it was fantastic. It did two things. It reinforced a lot of what I already knew and a lot of the behaviors I already had. And it reminded me of some of the behaviors I had not taken up that I knew about, but I'd actually failed to integrate as part of my daily routine. So great suggestions.
Yeah.
And in this marriage, go ahead.
What I love about that is that as leaders, we should always be learning, right? Even when you're a seasoned leader, just as you said, you've been a leader for a long time, so have I. But I really hope that I could be open to continuing to learn because I still do. I still learn those leadership lessons, sometimes the hard way.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many opportunities today. People do it, face to face or online, or like we're doing right now, Zoom recording.
Easy.
We had even a decade ago, we didn't have any of these opportunities. So you're hearing it from a seasoned leader, find a mentor, make sure that you continuously train yourself, take the courses that will allow you to rise to the occasion and be intentional and be conscious about all that. Even though this is a very short interview, which I love, you've shared some very, very insightful points of view that I'm sure will help many of the people listening in, if not everyone who chooses to put this into practice if they have not already done so. But maybe a closing comment for our audience today, Vicki?
I would just say, don't be afraid of being a leader, right? And we all lead in every position that we're in, even if we're not in a technically leadership position as a CEO or executive director or one of those more executive positions. I think everybody leads from where they sit. And learning how to lead others from where you sit is also such an important lesson around leadership.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your wisdom and your insights with our audience today and for taking the time out of your, I know, crazy schedule to get together with me. But know that we appreciate the work that you've done with us at Life University. And certainly, I speak very highly of advancement experts when I'm asked about you.
Thank you.
And recently, I was actually asked by the Lilly School if I would be willing to be a reference to a client that was looking to hire them. And I said, absolutely would be, because the experience that we've had with you personally and with the Lilly School has really, really been good. Okay. And now I guess when you think about it, our relationship has been about 18 months long so far. So things are looking good. Well, again, Vicki, thank you.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure to have you with me today.
Great to see you. A pleasure to be here.